steady. Oh, mic me up. Fuzzy one's his.
Okay. Let me see. I have to sign it. Hey, folks, we got a few seats up here if someone wants to move up here. I think we're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome. Welcome to the virtual farm tour hosted by R&G Miller & Sons. I'm excited to introduce your host of the tour, Ron Miller, who for the past 5 years has been the general manager of the farm. Following the presentation, questions can be answered by Ron and members of his family who are here, and also the divisional field manager, Kevin Keno, is in the audience as well. Also, the best part, you are welcome to enjoy some samples of some of the products that we produce. So please welcome Ron Miller.
Welcome. Welcome to R&G Miller & Sons. I am Ron Miller, and I will be your tour guide today. We are a family farm, milking close to 400 cows and farming about 1,558 acres of land, and we are organic. We're located about 20 miles north of Madison in northern Dane County in the little town of East Bristol. And that is where over 160 years ago, our great-grandparents immigrated from Germany and settled on land that is still on that we're farming today. And that makes us about the fourth and fifth generation to farm on the land. In the early 1900s, our grandfather, Jacob Miller, bought the farm from his parents. And next, my Uncle Reinald and Father Gerald took over and farmed in partnership until 1978, when they incorporated the farm, and we became R&G Miller & Sons Incorporated. There we have my Uncle Reinald and my Father Gerald, hence the R&G. We currently have 8 family members working on the farm, along with 6 other full-time and 2 part-time employees. We also host a lot of tours, and in 2005 we hosted a Dane County breakfast on the farm. And that pretty much brings us to the question that gets asked of us the most is, why are you organic? And why did you make the transition to organic? Well, there were several reasons or factors that led to us converting to organic. So it was the early 90s, and my Uncle Reinald was diagnosed and eventually passed away from cancer. He'd always been the one who did all the crop spraying, and the family was convinced that there was a correlation between the two. And that, coupled with low milk prices and a desire to no longer be at the mercy of the chemical companies, led my cousin John, who was in charge at the time on the farm, to research organic. We all agreed that it was worth a try, and in 1993 we started the transition. And in 1997 we started shipping our milk to Organic Valley. The transition years were not easy, as we were learning to farm differently than what we were used to. And one of the things that come up most is that, how the neighbors and other farmers in the area were quite skeptical and were certain that we would switch back to the way we were previously. However, that just made us more determined to succeed, and we did. Next is a presentation on our milking parlor, and one of the main features on our farm is our rotary milking parlor. It was built in 1990, so we've been milking in it for 25 years. It's a rotoflow, which was designed in New Zealand. It floats on about between 12 and 15,000 gallons of water. It's basically like a cement bowl floating inside of another cement bowl. Basically weighs 130 ton without the cattle on it, and it only takes a half-horse motor for it to turn it around. Before that, we had a double-six herringbone parlor, which was built in 1969. So we've had a milking parlor for a long time. But the reason we liked the rotary was the fact that just basically cow comfort. They were so comfortable. They walk on, they each have their own individual stall. There was no other cows pushing on them while they were milking. And they just stood there chewing their cud and just seemed to enjoy the ride as they went around. We milk about 388 cows twice a day. There's usually 3 people in the milking parlor, 2 on the side where the cows come in. There they get pre-dipped, stripped, wiped, and the milker put on. And then there's another person on the side where the cows are getting done. That person checks to make sure they're done, post dips, and then after that they just back off, and then they head out to pasture. We have 4 milking cow groups. One is our high group, mostly first lactation, younger animals, a post-fresh group, and then a mid to late lactation group before dry off. And next we'll be watching a video here on with Dave Meidel. He is with Midwestern BioAg, and he is our nutritionist and basically our agronomist that we work with from Midwestern BioAg.
At R&G Miller & Sons Farm, we incorporate high forage diets. And how we do that is through Midwestern BioAg's system-based approach. We sometimes refer to it as nutrition from the soil up. What we do is use fertilizer ingredients that are friendly to soil biology and work within that soil biological system, along with our proprietary trace mineral blends and our soluble calcium Organical. With this, we can increase the structure of the soil, improving that soil structure and increase nutrient uptake in the forages, which allows us to have a higher mineralized, higher digestible forage that enables us to have a healthy, economical cow ration. So to complement the high forage diets that are fed here on this farm, we also utilize some small grains, barley, wheat, triticale, that we roast. By roasting it, we enhance the digestibility of those small grains, which really complement the high forage diet, because with high forage diet, we tend to deal with higher protein solubility. We're talking about a 65% forage diet. And the small grains, the starch breaks down faster than what corn does, and so that allows us to better utilize the rumen efficiently. We do use roasted beans to enhance the energy of the diet, also providing bypass protein essential amino acids. We also balance with using customized minerals, and those minerals are customized based on the forages that are fed on the farm. Along with the other ingredients in the ration, we also utilize direct-fed microbials into this diet to help with increased rumen efficiency. The reasons for high forage diets are certainly to improve herd health, to improve milk components, and overall herd longevity. The cows stay in the herd longer, and with this we also improve economic return to the farm.
So next is one of the organic requirements is to pasture or graze your animals. Overhead view of a drone taking pictures of some of our paddocks. We have, for the milking cows, we have 31 different 8-acre paddocks that the milking cows graze on. And the typical grazing season is May through November. We have to have a minimum requirement of 120 days on pasture and a 30% dry matter intake from pasture. For the milk cows, like I said, we have the 31 paddocks, 8 acres each, and we've also break them down with temporary fencing so that each day when the group goes out, they have a fresh break of grass. Heifers and dry cows get 100% pasture during the grazing season. They're on pastures furthest from the farm because they don't have to walk back and forth to the barn each day. In all, total, we have about 434 acres of pasture, and they're quite diverse with different grasses, clovers. We have everything from ryegrasses to festoleum, orchard grass, meadow fescue, tall fescue, white clover, red clover. We also include a little chicory, some alfalfa, and of course quackgrass. One of the biggest things you hear that we've heard over the years is that one of the biggest concerns or misconceptions that people have is that pasture is just a poor use of good land. We've found that to be not true. We found that some of our grazing acres are our most profitable, and there's been a lot of research done to back it up. One of the studies showed that net farm income comparing grazing to confinement, it was that grazing was the most profitable. Another compared heifers raised on pasture outperformed heifers in confinement. And we found that since pasturing that we have a lot better health for animals, better feet, legs, just healthier overall animals, mostly by, with the grazing and the walking and the exercise. And we've also, on the research side, we've also collaborated quite a bit with UW as far as some grazing research and their entomology department on pests and whatnot in soybeans, and some other cropping studies we've done with the UW. And basically just overall it's shown that, a lot of the studies have shown that grazing is very beneficial to our bottom line and to the environment in general. Next we have video here with our calf raising. Be with Steve Miller as our calf and young stock manager.
Hi, I'm Steve Miller, and I'm the person that takes care of the calves. I've been doing this for 30 years, the last 21 organically. So what we have here is a new barn we built 3 years ago. The barn we had previously burned down, so we had to build this, and it's a pretty nice building. I really like it. We have automated curtains. I can set it at 48. The curtains will automatically close, and then they'll automatically open when it gets above 48. But I can go any temperature I want. We have levers on our fans. We got 6 of those fans, so there's no direct air on the calves, and it circulates the air really nicely, so there's no dead spots where they lay in the back by the cement wall above the curtain, especially when the curtains are closed. In the winter, we have a wood stove that we use till probably April 1st maybe, and we use that for when it's quite cold. The protocol for the calves is the calf is born, half a day later it's brought into here, and then I take care of it for the next 3 to 4 months in here. The first 2 months it's in a pen of 3. Then after 2 months, then they go into a pen of 6. We've been using cow's milk pretty much for the last 20 years since we went organic. The benefits of whole milk is it's really a whole lot better than powdered milk. And you can really tell by the growth of the calves. They do really well. So about a week of age, the calves start getting their grain and they start nibbling on a little bit of hay. I use baleage, about a 30% moisture baleage. I find the baleage is a lot nicer and it smells really nice for the calves, and the calves really love it. That's why I use baleage, because it's so sweet smelling. They get that throughout till they go on pasture when they're about 5 to 6 months old.
Next is our cropping part of our farm. Besides pasture, we grow corn, soybeans, alfalfa, winter triticale, winter wheat, oats, and grass hay. Of course, the biggest challenge in organic farming is weed control in the row crops. Typically for the corn and beans, we will rotary hoe at least twice and cultivate twice or more. We also have an LP weed burner or flame cultivator that we use. And that's usually used at least once, sometimes twice, and occasionally on some fields we don't even need to use it. Another thing that we've done is no-tilling soybeans into standing rye. We do this with a rolling crimper on the front of the tractor and with the drill on the back of the beans, or on the back of the tractor for drilling the beans in. But however, the biggest weed control method is crop rotation. Our typical crop rotation is 3 years alfalfa, followed by corn, then beans, back to corn, then small grains, and then back to alfalfa again. And we also utilize cover crops, different cover crops, depending on weed pressure and what we're trying to accomplish. We have a nutrient management plan, and we are on a fertilizer program with Midwestern BioAg. And pretty much all of our crop yields are at or above county averages. We feel our soil health has really improved dramatically over the years, and that the water holding capacity has also improved. We don't see as much drought stress on our fields compared to others. And, we're just a firm believer in the healthy soils mean healthy crops, mean healthy cows. Next will be a presentation here by Dr. Guy Jadarski. He's a staff veterinarian at Organic Valley.
I'm Guy Jadarski, staff veterinarian with Crop Cooperative, and I want to talk a little bit about soil and its connection with health. And soil is really the basis for health. We learn often about how important nutrition is for animal health, but the nutrition ultimately comes from the soil. And so having good healthy soil makes a big difference. You get more nutrients into the plants, and it's just a healthier situation for the animals. And so what we see over time with organic farming, and specifically with intensive managed grazing, we see an increase in organic matter in the soil, and that brings a lot of benefits. It brings the nutrient content up in the feed, but it also makes the soil better able to hold moisture during dry periods or even during heavy rains. And so we see a lot of benefits with the soil, and it's really the foundation for the health of the animals. And so we really feel the soil is very important. We pay a lot of attention to both the analysis of the soil and the feed samples, but also looking at our crop rotations and agronomy practices also. So the millers do a great job with their cropping operation. They have a lot of acreage, and so in most years they have extra feed, and they actually do sell feed to other organic farmers, high quality feed. And so they do a great job with that. And part of what makes the soil health and the cropping work are the rotations, and specifically rotating into pasture, because the pasture will build, the grazing management actually works to build the soil organic matter over time faster than any other way you can do it. Cover crops are important, minimal tillage is important, but grazing, managed grazing is really important for that system, and the millers obviously do a great job with their crops.
And that leads us into the herd health. Being organic, we are not allowed to use antibiotics or other synthetics. However, if need be, we will use them to save an animal or to prevent suffering. However, that animal cannot return to the organic production. She has to be removed from the herd. So our main focus is on prevention. We have to really keep an eye on the animals, if we see anything just a little bit off, we try to give it something that we can, bring them around to eating and whatnot. Mainly if you can keep them eating, they'll be fine. We are allowed to use vaccines and other natural herbal remedies and whatnot to treat our animals. But like I said, prevention is the main thing to help us out. Pasturing also helps with the exercise and healthier feet and legs. We use quite a few probiotics. We have kind of a regimen as far as what we use, like when they calve and whatnot. And then we also feed a direct microbial in our TMR ration. Next is also a presentation by Dr. Guy Judarski, staff veterinarian from Organic Valley.
I'm part of a team that works with organic dairy farmers like the millers and other livestock farmers in the co-op. And we stress prevention as a way of handling herd health issues, but we do have several tools available to us. We have some of the synthetic medicines that farmers may be very familiar with, things like fluids like calcium for cows with milk fever, or hypertonic saline for a toxic cow, or even a synthetic drug like flunixin or banamine would be allowed with an extended withdrawal period for organic. So there are synthetic tools available, and then there's a lot of plant-based herbal medicines that people can use. And we do use things like that, nutritional supplements, and also vaccines. We use vaccines as a prevention. And so we have a lot of tools available, but really our focus is on building a healthy system using good management, vaccination, good nutrition, housing, ventilation, all those things that good farmers all across the country do. We just work on those things, and we find that we really have very little need for treatments. And speaking with the millers in particular, they have very little ketosis or displaced abomasums, maybe one a year in almost 400 cows, so that's very little. They might treat a milk fever case once a month. And then when we talk about things like assisting a cow or a heifer with calving, we see a seasonal effect where we really don't have very much at all, but then about March or April, they'd start to notice that they have to start helping cows pull more calves and that sort of thing. And then they realize that, oh yes, the cows have been in for a while in the winter time. And so the exercise effect from grazing is very important. And so the three things that we really count on for prevention are the soil health, the high forage diet, and also the grazing. Those three things together really make for healthy cows.
Next, we'll be talking a little bit about the profitability. This shows just some of the things that we track on our dairy, just as far as like the number of cows milking, everything from milk per cow per day. We have goals set up here, and we can track it from like over the course of the year, and it just helps us on the management and decision making that we on the farm for the cows. And this also shows the pay price that we've enjoyed over the years quite sustainable, very stable, excuse me. The, and it's just from over the years, it just allows us to budget. We don't have the fluctuations that on the conventional side has to face. Um, like I said, we can budget to plan for the year without having to worry about things changing as much as. But it also allows us to, for our employees and our family, just, I mean, we support 8 families. We're able to hire enough help to allow us to have weekends and days off. We're able to offer competitive wages, overtime, paid vacation and sick time, health, dental insurance, workers' comp. We also butcher a couple times a year for meat that we share with the employees. And the biggest part too is, you know, on the business side of things is, you know, we're able to, we have an 80+% owner's equity, which allows us some real negotiating and bargaining power at the bank. So the biggest thing there is, you know, and this pay price has been, you know, over 27 years. So, I mean, it's not like it's just a fad or anything. You know, you can see it's been around for a while, and it's constantly, it's just, it's very enjoyable when you can do that. Which basically, brings us to towards the end here. Pretty much just like to pretty much would conclude our tour, and I'd like to thank you all for coming. And just say, no matter what kind of farmer you are, we're all in this together, and to grow the nation's food and to ensure a bright future for the next generation of family farmers. So I'd like to thank you, and from all of us at R&G Miller and Sons, thanks for coming and enjoying the tour.
At this time, we can open it up to questions.
What's your strategy in breeding A2A2?
A2, we that's all we use. We're pretty much AI totally on the milk cows. We do have a bull for the heifers, but even that is A2A2. That's all we use is A2A2 bulls. Just reading about stuff, and that, you know, like in Australia and stuff, it is being marketed, and so it's a position we wanted to put ourselves into, the possibility of it being here. We'd be in position to market it also.
Do you have a bookkeeping system? What do you use?
Well, for the bookkeeping side of things, we use QuickBooks. And we use, for the dairy side, we have Dairy Comp. Cropping side, we use FarmWorks. So we have kind of a system for all aspects of the operation.
Did you mention what you do with your cull animals? I was just wondering, what do you do with your cull animals?
We market most of them through Organic Valley, organically, but we also do send some conventionally. Anything that, you know, has to go, like today, if she comes down with you know, some toxic mastitis or gets injured or something, we can we just market them right away conventionally. So it's We do it both ways.
We can't let him get off that easy. If you ask a question, we'll give you an Organic Valley hat.
What do you do with your bull calf?
Right now, we're selling our bull calves just conventionally. There are no growers around us that are raising any organic steers or beef or anything, so we are just marketing them conventionally.
Looking back on your dairy farming experience, is there anything that you would change?
As far as switching to organic from where we were, no, I think even if you ask any of us today, we are happy with the decision and we'd make it again.
How much of your corn do you use for the grain in the diet, or is it more just for silage?
No, we do, we use both, but I think pretty much our level of corn silage in the milk cow diet is about 20 pounds per head, is about as tops as it go. And then I think corn, high moisture corn in the ration is 12 to 15 pounds.
What's your tank averages like? Your somatic cell, protein, fat, and what's your rolling herd average?
Tank averages, let me just pull out my little cheat sheet here. Somatic cell count is right around, it varies from about 240 to 340 depending on the season. We're at about a right now we're at about a 60-pound herd average. I think our average for last year was 54. Rolling herd average right now is about 21,000. What else did you ask? Oh, butterfat. We are currently at about a 3.5 butterfat, 3.1 protein.
Hi, do you face any food problems since the herd is grazing all day or out in the field?
No, foot problems? No, foot problems, correct? Yes. No, we've found that the foot and leg health has improved. We do scheduled hoof trimming and stuff, and especially during the grazing season, when we do that, it's basically is just cosmetic hoof trimming. There are hardly any hoof problems. It's actually improved the feet and leg condition.
I think I understood you said you have 8 family members. Do they all own stock in your corporation, or how does that work? How are you structured to?
I think before you answer that question, we should have the Miller family stand up.
There are currently 8 family members working on the farm. There are actually there's Mandy, I think I'll ask, how many shareholders are there? There's actually 18 shareholders. We actually do have a board of directors that we meet monthly to make major decisions on the farm and whatnot for the future and whatever. And like most of them are not involved with the farm. They're just family members that have own shares.
What is your wintertime schedule? Are the cows in free stalls? Are they left out during the winter? What do you do with them and the heifers?
The wintertime, they are housed, we have all free stalls. Free stalls are all rubber-filled mattresses with, we use sawdust on top to keep them dry. Even the young stock, we have housing for them in the wintertime. We don't outwinter anything. We have the facilities to house them.
Yeah, I just had a question about what do you use for fly control, or if you do?
Fly control, we do use a lot of sticky tapes. We've tried the fly parasites in the past. I think they were successful. We currently don't use them. I haven't seen much difference, so I'm not 100% sold on them. The biggest thing on the fly control is just to keep manure and everything, basically keep your place as clean as possible, and you'll have less flies. We do use a product from Crystal Creek Company. It's No Fly. It's a essential oil based product, and we do spray that on the calves if they get real bad flies. And there's also an oil based no fly product that we use in our brushes and the wick type of things that are available, and that is also pretty effective. Same type of product, an essential oil product, and it works pretty well. And some fly zappers also.
During the grazing season, is your freestall barn empty, or do you supplemental feed the cows during nighttime or something like that?
We graze half the time the cows are in the barn and half the time they're on pasture, 50% of the time. So yeah, we do supplement with TMR or PMR, partial mixed ration. But the young stock heifers, they're out 24/7 from as soon as there's grass to eat to where there's no grass to eat, then they come in. But otherwise, yeah, the milk cows, they are in the barn. We generally pasture after the evening milking. So starting probably around 3:30, they're heading out to pasture again, and then they don't come back till 5, 6 in the morning. We've just found that that's a lot more beneficial. We've tried it the other way around, and it just seems that get them out of the heat of the day. It's a lot cooler in the barns the way we have them designed, and they do a lot more grazing in the evening and early morning. I know some people say they don't graze at night, but ours do.
What is your longevity or lactations per cow averages?
We're averaging about 4 to 5 lactations per cow.
Do you have any permanent pasture? If so, how do you control weeds?
Well, we do have some, I guess you'd call it permanent pasture, but even that we do rotate, and once the cows, they're only on it for, you know, a certain amount of time, and then when they do come off, it's just clipping. And some paddocks we can get away with clipping a couple times a year. Some will clip them every time they come off if there's a weed problem. But that's basically our weed control in the pastures is clipping.
Okay, well, I want to thank you all for coming once again, and before you leave, make sure you try a sample of some of our products. The Millers will be here for the next few minutes if you have additional questions, but thank you for coming.